So specifically on the finding, fixing, and flipping, remember that with the finding, you're mostly going to focus down in on vacant and abandoned houses, properties that are either in the pre-foreclosure or foreclosure process, and then the difference between those different parts of the pre-foreclosure or the foreclosure itself, the red tag houses, and any auctions. And then on funding, we really love the mix and match of private lenders, hard money lenders, transactional funding, and conventional funding, depending on your credit, depending on the deal itself. And it's important to know how to mix and match the funding together to, again, make it more profitable. Some of those things, like a hard money lender versus a private lender, could cost you 3 or 4 times as much just for the cost of the money. So those are things that we like to caution people about, and it's good to weigh out all your options. And sometimes you don't have the option yet of having decent private lenders that have lower interest rates, but that's definitely a goal. It should be a goal of yours until you have all of your own cash that you're either partnering or finding private lenders. Transactional funding actually can be very inexpensive too, and we have quite a few slides on that help you understand when and where that kind of funding might be most advantageous, especially if you don't have any private lenders. Just because private lenders are my favorite doesn't mean I always have private investors just sitting around. They come and they go, and sometimes their money comes and goes. So I might have somebody that says, ooh, I'd love to do this deal, but all of my money is out on other projects right now. So the timing on the money and the amount of funds that you can have accessible to you, that's going to make up a lot of your mind for you. But that's why the deeper you could go into levels of different lenders and different funding options, the more options you have available. The more options, usually the cheaper you can get your financing done. So analyzing includes determining the after repair value, the ARV. Also, do you use real estate agents, online estimates, and tax evaluations for those things, and which of those are the most accurate? And then determining the cost of repairs. There are some basic formulas that a lot of new investors use, but there are definitely a couple of ways that we would prefer that you do that so that you guys are more accurate in your estimates. And then adding the hold time estimate. So, that really has to play on days of market, because the days on market in any given neighborhood could be, I've seen them really high, like over 9 months before, and sometimes they're gone in days. So that's kind of the spectrum there. And 3 to 6 months is an average, but you have to remember that the hold time on those includes from the time you close, the time to get the contractor started, the time to get the work finished, and then the time to sell. So if your days on market are around 3 months, you've still got 1 to 3 months on the front of that before you even sit it on the market for sale on the MLS. If it made it that far, you might have actually stuck a sign in the yard and had it pre-sold, which again is fantastic, but it doesn't happen all the time. So you really have to be careful to estimate your holding costs high enough that you're not going to run out of money. And I'm sure that all of you, if you've been watching Fix and Flips or looking at properties around town for long enough, you've seen some projects that got partway done and they ran out of money. You can tell because they have this really cool stuff in some places and then the rest of the house is unfinished. That was an investor that didn't estimate their holding costs or the repair costs high enough, and they got stuck holding the bag. It's really important here, this is a little note at the bottom, to only use recent sales. If you try to compare the subject property that you have right now with properties that sold a year ago, that won't be very accurate. Markets go up and down all the time. So you want to stay really close, like within the last 3 to 6 months if you can. If there's nothing that sold like it in the last 3 to 6 months and you have to go up to 9 months or a year, you do what you have to do. But that's where it's really, really important to get some of the real estate agents or appraisers involved in determining what the true ARV is, the real after repair value, as close as possible. Steve, anything on that?
Yeah, since this is today's takeaway on this section here, I just want to give you a little more detail.
Okay.
I wanted to focus on the hold times. So the 3-month hold time kind of reflects an in and out market. You get in, you get it done, then it's gone. The 6-month is something that you're going to find in markets where things aren't moving as fast. But if you're in an area where things are taking 9 months to sell, You want to be able to pick your properties up and resell them on the market enough below value that they'll still be gone in 6 months, which means you need to shift what you're pricing things at significantly, because you don't want any deal that you're buying and fixing to last longer than a 6-month deal. The costs of funding are going to eat you up. The holding costs will just eat you up. So just go in planning on being well below market so that you get it gone in that 6-month time period. So just a little piece of advice there.
Okay, excellent. And amen.